Hello and welcome. This is the Best from the West podcast, and you can catch all the WA racing action live and free, of course, on 7plus. Miles Pfitzner filling in for Gareth Hall as we touch on all things racing in WA. And, well, we've got the Northerly coming up this weekend, and who better to chat to than, well, a man that's got a leading contender in that race in Mitch Freedman with Attrition. Mitchy, hello to you.
Morning, Miles. How are you?
Very well. Hey, mate. Great story with this horse. He's a stable start, 2.2 million. He's won 4 from 17. Just before we sort of get into too much of the nitty-gritty, you must be so pleased to have a horse like this in your yard.
Absolutely. He's a super horse. He's been a ripping horse to our team. He's been able to take us to some great highs and compete in some really good races, and he's really put the stable up in the spotlights.
Tell us about the thought process about heading west. Now, he's a horse that's well-travelled. You haven't been afraid of taking him to Adelaide. He's also run here. He'd been up to Rosehill and the Hill Stakes Group 2 as well. Mate, tell us about, which was a $2 million race, of course. You're not afraid to travel him. Does he float well?
He does. He travels super. He actually travelled over to Adelaide at his first start in a race. So he's been doing it since the get-go, and it just doesn't seem to affect him. And being a stallion and being a little bit older, I think those new environments really tend to engage him, and it just seems to have worked well for him. So we decided to head west when the Spring Carnival was slowly coming to a close. That the Northerly was on the program and worth plenty of money, and it's just the right trip for him, and back to weight for age conditions we thought would suit.
Right trip, weight for age conditions, but also it looks like a horse that doesn't mind it sort of firm or firmish, and you can get that in WA?
Absolutely. He seems to race best on firm ground. And like you said, back to the weight for age. So he had to give a little bit of weight away in the 5 Diamonds last start. And I think, obviously he's going to have to give a bit of weight away to the 3-year-olds, but he'll get himself up in the first half of the field and see how we get on.
Mate, tell us about what goes into getting a horse into WA. I mean, we sort of get trainers on and we get to talk about, like, very briefly about the horse, but what goes in sort of from a more detailed perspective? Like, have you got someone over there that you identified early as to put the horse in their stable and look after it? How did you go about it?
Yeah, we did a little bit of research into all that, Miles. Worked out where other people had stayed in the past, spoke to a few people, and then decided what environment we wanted him, whether we wanted him trained on the track at Belmont or we wanted to get him to a farm. We elected to go to the farm to change things up, so we stayed at Donna Reardon's. The travelling, it was pretty simple. He had to go from Sydney, and there was only one flight leaving, so he had to travel up the week before the railway. So he's been over here coming up 3 weeks now. He took to all that well. After he's run the 5 Diamonds, he went down to Bong Bong to Kieran Maher's farm, sort of got on their saltwater walker, used the heavy sand track there, and all of it just sort of helped him adapt to what was ahead of him and allowed him to get over that 5 Diamonds run. And then he got on the plane and got over here, and he's really, as I said, taken to it really nicely. He's eaten well and done everything right. He's had a gallop at Lark Hill sort of 4 or 5 days after he arrived. Then he another 4 or 5 days he had a trial up at Belmont, and then this morning he's gone and had his last gallop. So he's had 3 pieces of work since he's been over here in sort of 3 weeks, and he seems to be super and ready to go back to the races.
When did you get there, and or who travelled with the horse?
Yeah, so horse travelled on his own. I met him over here initially, and then I went home. One of my stable staff in Maddie come over, who's travelled with him to sort of Sydney his last couple of runs and stuff. So she knows him well. She come over, and there's a little bit of a tag team. I went back home and then come back over here just a couple of days ago. So we'll keep an eye on him leading into the race, and we're happy with everything he's doing and look forward to Saturday.
Have you thought of anything sort of further forward than the Northerly, like in regards to the horse?
No, we'll get him home and give him a break. he'll probably only have a short break and then a bit of a turnaround. I think I'm keen to try him at the 2000 in the autumn. Obviously, he's gone up to the 1900 and was very strong there. So step him out to the 2000 next prep, I think, and whether that's a Melbourne or Sydney campaign, and then possibly even Brisbane in the winter. We'll just let it all play out next prep. But he's been very well managed, lightly raced before now, and I think it's time for him to do some racing and hopefully that management early in his career and really sort of stopping and taking the foot off the gas when we had to allows us to have a long and fruitful racing career.
Currently $4.60 favourite you are at the moment, Mitch. Just what does it also mean for the Colin McKenna connection? I know you've probably discussed this in the media at length, but it's always nice to train one in these colours. Absolutely.
I think Cole and Paul Gorey were the first two people that jumped in him. I expect him at the sales, and to have Cole jump into him straight away and back you in, it's gives you good confidence, and he was a man that always instilled good confidence in you and backed you in with your decision making and how you went about it. And it was great to train horses for him. We'll obviously still to continue to have something work with Janice, and they auctioned off a small share in the horse last week, so a new owner to the stable, and it's just the horses are very well managed by Andy Mackie, and I'm sure that the colours will continue to have success, and the Halo Racing Services name will continue on.
How did you originally come across Cole?
Well, obviously, I started down in Warrnambool, and pretty proud Warrnambool man. Cole, I didn't meet him for a little bit when I'd moved down there, but I come across him in a tour over in New Zealand, trainers tour. He was on that tour, and trainers and owners and a few industry sort of people get on those tours, and struck up a relationship quickly there with him. And although we didn't have a horse for him for a while, he eventually gave us a homebred or two. And he said if we'd ever found something at the sale that we thought that we would want him to come in and race with us, that let him know. And I'm glad we found one before this at the sales, and she wasn't any good at all. But he stuck by us, and the second one we bought was Attrition. So it's been a super journey, and glad to have him and all the family involved.
You're not only a good trainer, you're also a good form student. No doubt you would have looked at the Northerly. Well, what are you seeing as major threats at the moment? We'd probably expect Light Infantryman to bounce back. We're going to have a chat to the Super Smink team very shortly. Zip Away was highly spec'd in the race before. How are you seeing it?
Yeah, I've got to have another look at the railway and follow that up a bit more closely. But, watching it at the time, I didn't think Sox Nation had a lot of luck. I thought that Light Infantryman was in a bit of the same boat. He was probably a bit of a hunted species in that race and got himself into an awkward spot. And, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. And we know the 3-year-old's got a good record in the past. So a lot of factors to play out. We'll have the barrier draw to come, and we'll assess it with my racing manager, Alex, and work out what we think's best. But I know this horse to have him at his best. He's a horse that likes to get up there and be involved in the contest. He's loves a fight, and we'll be certainly keeping that in mind when coming up with the final tactics.
Anything else for the listeners kicking around or running around in the next week or so, Mitch, that we need to keep an eye out on?
Look, I think the team's going very well. We've had a number of placings recently, and they'll turn soon. So I think you just follow the stable in general, and there should be a few winners to come out of the place over the next month or so.
Mitch, appreciate your time on Best from the West, mate. All the best with Attrition. Been a super horse. We love following him, and we love seeing your stable go from strength to strength all the time, mate. Best of luck, and I'm sure we'll chat again soon.
Thanks, Miles.
Mitch Freedman, their trainer of Attrition, does an unbelievable job. One of the up-and-coming stars is Mitch Freedman. Tune into Racing WA TV on 7+, your ultimate destination for everything racing in the West. Stay with us. On the other side of this, Dan Morton, the trainer of Super Smink. Welcome back to the best from the West. Miles Pfitzner with you, filling in for Gareth Hall, and you can catch all the WA racing action live and free on 7+. A man that trains a horse that I absolutely love. Its name is Super Smink, and the man I speak of is Dan Morton. He joins me this morning. How are you, Dan?
Yeah, going well, Miles. How are you?
Yeah, very well. Hey, mate, we talk about this horse a fair bit here at SEN Track. I was there the day, the Karrakatta day, where it just spanked them, like Live to Tell and Co. in the Karrakatta, and he's been a good horse to follow ever since. He must be pretty happy with this horse's prep.
She's a beauty. Yeah, really are. She's had a faultless prep, really. Tracked all the way beautifully, nicely through to the railway. We didn't draw a great marble, and it was a bit costly, but she was still great, and we get another opportunity Saturday.
Yeah, good win in the Asian Bow. You must have been pretty happy with that. I thought that was a super win in the Asian Bow.
Yeah, it really was. Again, she drew an awkward marble and went back and, really unleashed late and reeled him in. So, yeah, we went into the railway with a degree of confidence, although we, drawn a nasty gate. But, she didn't let us down. She ran super.
You really haven't had too much of a lull with this horse. The only time that you probably did was that sort of April-May period earlier this year. But outside of that, really runs a bad one for you.
No, correct. And, there were reasons for the, bit of an awkward prep last go around. So, certainly never lost any faith in her. And, we know there's big races in her. So, hopefully Saturday's our day.
What are the plans here? Does it depend on the barrier? I know you sort of get in at 56.5, but is there sort of a one way, or are you thinking that you might have to adjust? Looking like, a horse like Maraschino, doesn't matter where it's going to draw, will roll forward and put some tempo in. I can't imagine it being a fully slowly run 1,800-metre race.
Yeah, it should be a genuine race, you'd imagine. She probably is in a bit of a pattern of racing now where she gets off them a little bit, and it seems to suit her. So Chris rides her really well and he understands her. So I won't be second-guessing whatever he's got in plan. He'll go out with, like I say, a good plan and hopefully execute that.
Have you got plans after the Northerly?
Well, if she comes through in good shape and is competitive, then there's the option for the Gold Rush back to the 14. It's only a week back up after that. But, she's a very fit man now at this end of the preparation. So given that she comes through in good shape, then she'll probably take a place there. You've
got a few others that are non there for the Gold Rush. Do you have another couple? I mean, you must have been pretty pleased with the win of Cashel Palace just recently. Do you have a few others that you think you're going to try to get in there?
Cashel Palace was great, but I've let her go to the paddock.
Yep.
Confident she'll be a big player, hopefully this time next year. I think she'll furnish good. So Saloon Bar's our other target there for the Gold Rush. He just didn't really play a part the other day. I went in pretty bullish in the winter bottom, but it just didn't work for him. He got back and didn't help himself and sort of was never in the race. But, 1,400 metres, hopefully he can get his wheels turning a bit better early and take a bit better part.
A few other horses seem to be going well for you at the moment. You had a winner down there at Bunbury with Lethal Weapon. You don't mind going down there to Bunbury and picking up a couple?
We just have horse will travel. It's just got to go where we got to go here. So same as everywhere. But we're enjoying a pretty good season to date, and long may it continue into the carnival for us.
Can I ask for an update on a few others and their horses that we've sort of tipped or backed before? But another Chino.
Yeah, he's gone to the paddock. He had a bit of a long prep. We sort of targeted a Kalgoorlie Cup and it didn't really work for him, and we tried to sort of freshen him and roll into these summer staying races, but he'd had enough. So, he's in the paddock. We probably won't see him now till the autumn or even a little bit longer into the winter staying events.
Bondi Plunge?
Same boat. She's gone to the paddock. We've got a bit of a mass exodus this week. There's a few of them that just sort of come to the end of their preps.
And what about In Good Order?
No, he's going great. So he'll race again Saturday. His target's the Perth Cup, obviously January 1. So tracking beautifully. Hopefully we've got a cracking fit horse come January 1.
Dan, I've been explaining to people that the tracks have been playing pretty fair over there at the moment. Look, every now and then you get the one doozy meeting where the rail can go right off there at Ascot, but you must be pretty pleased with how the Ascot track's playing. It looks superb at the moment.
Yeah, no, they're doing a great job with it. It's very, we literally either get an easterly or a sea breeze, and that can come into play if they're stronger breezes either way. Outside of that, it's a pretty fair track. So, I don't read too much into track bias, really, to be honest. I just sort of send the horses out and let them be ridden how they got to be ridden, and something will win every race.
Yep, love it. Hey, mate, appreciate your time on the Best from the West show. Best of luck with Super Smink. We hope you get the chocolates, and look forward to chatting to you again soon. Have a great summer, mate.
Thanks for having me on. Cheers.
Dan Morton there, trainer of Super Smink, and I just like the no-nonsense approach. Whack him in. Something's got to win. Chrissy Parnham, you make the decision. Where you draw the marble is where you land. And that's what it is. But super, super, super trainer. I know if you want to race a horse in WA, Dan Morton, absolute elite trainer. You can catch WA racing action live and free on 7+. Tune into Racing WA TV on 7+, your ultimate destination for everything racing in the West.